Alright folks, let's talk about using the factions of Waterdeep to propel our characters through the narrative of Waterdeep Dragon Heist. In the module, there are 7 factions that might reach out to your characters and recruit them once they've rescued Raynar Neverember. These factions give you 1 mission for each level that you gain, and completing those missions grants you renown with that faction. Those missions are entirely divorced from the primary narrative of the module, however. They have absolutely no ties to the Stone of Galore or the Hidden Vault, and it's difficult to see how you can fit those missions in while the players are madly scrambling to get at the stone and the vault before the bad guys. There's nothing wrong with these missions, and I think they're very well constructed. And if you're running the module as a relaxed sandbox and everybody's taking their time, then these missions are a great way to pass a few sessions. However, I like it when things tie together nice and neat, very tight. So we're going to revamp these missions in such a way that the entirety of Waterdeep Dragon Heist can be run through the lens of these factions. In essence, each faction becomes an overlay for the entire narrative of the module. This is going to give our players a very clear motivation and a very clear through line during the adventure by putting them in front of a primary quest giver. And if you, as a DM, run this more than once, it's going to give you a ton of variety in how things play out from game to game. This time around, we're talking about the Bregan, the merry band of drows, led by Jarlaxle. Upon reaching the 2nd level, parties with at least 1 drow character will be followed by Jarlaxle's cronies. If they play their cards right, the party will be approached by JB Nevercaught, which is really Jarlaxle in disguise. He offers them a job, and if the group accepts, they'll be given their first task: deliver a message. That's it. Just take a letter from point A to point B. But Jarlaxle being who he is, things aren't quite as simple as they sound. Jarlaxle, as JB Nevercaught, hands the characters a sealed envelope. Inside is an encoded message that he wants delivered to a contact somewhere within the city. If asked about its contents, he doesn't give much away. He just says that it's a professional missive that needs to get to its destination no matter what. Jarlaxle gives the characters an address to the old knot shop in the city's castle ward and sends them on their way. Unbeknownst to the characters, the encoded letter is just a shopping list, but Jarlaxle's demeanor and mannerisms imply that the letter is of the utmost importance. This is intentional because Jarlaxle believes that he's being watched by a mole within his ranks, and that mole is working with one of the other big bads in the city, Xanathar, perhaps. The characters are just decoys meant to confirm Jarlaxle's suspicions and suss out the mole. On their way to the old knot shop, the characters are intercepted by a gang of thugs employed by the chosen villain of the adventure. They aren't out to kill the characters or fight to the death. Instead, their focus is on stealing the letter and getting the heck out of there. Once the characters deal with the thugs, they can deliver the letter to the owner of the old knot shop. After that, they're approached by JB Nevercaught, who pays them and invites them back to Jarlaxle's ship for further conversation and a reveal of who they're working for. Before we get on to that next mission, you should know that you can get the written version of this guide and all of our other guides over on Patreon for just as little as $1. You can download them all and keep them all forever. So yeah, for just as little as $1, you don't have to watch this stupid video over and over again. Just pull up the handy dandy PDF and get your Waterdeep game going. If you don't want to do that, it's totally cool. Just click the subscribe button right down there so that you don't miss any of our future videos. That being said, let's see what Jarlaxle's next mission is for your players. With his suspicions confirmed, Jarlaxle's primary focus now is figuring out exactly who the mole is. At this point, everybody in his organization is suspect. Everybody except for himself and the characters, that is. So being the trustworthy little group that you are, Jarlaxle has another job for you. Tail his top guys and figure out which one is talking to the enemy and bring them back for interrogation. There are 4 individuals who Jarlaxle wants tailed. 2 ship captains, Velgos Ephezrin and Lorath Farn, as well as 2 brothers, Solun Zibrandas and Gnarl Zibrandas. I got those right on the first try. Velgos uses a disguise kit to take on the appearance of a human while off Jarlaxle's ships. He can be followed to a tavern where he gets absolutely plastered on wine. Characters can sit back and watch him from afar as he flirts unsuccessfully with the waitresses, or they can join him and ply him with more wine to get him more drunk and get more information out of him. He doesn't give them anything useful, and they should come to the conclusion that he's entirely clean. Lorath also uses a disguise kit and can be followed to a gambling den where he loses a king's ransom. He nearly gets in a fight and the characters can jump in to save his butt and all of that, but otherwise he's completely clean. He's just a really crappy poker player. Saloon can be followed during the nighttime as he makes the excursion into the city to murder a surface elf in a dark alley. He doesn't really know this guy, he just hates surface elves. What your players do with this one could be very interesting indeed, but aside from being a murderer, Saloon is clean. Gnarl is the real mole, and he's passing information along to the bad guys about Jarlaxle's real mission in Waterdeep. Characters can follow Gnarl to the City of the Dead, where he meets up with a group of the bad guys' minions. They can overhear Gnarl's hushed conversation if they get close enough and make a good perception check, and that's enough to confirm any suspicions about what he is up to. At that point, characters can ambush Gnarl on his way back to the ships, or they can jump in and fight against the bad guys' minions and Gnarl as well, and they can handle it right there inside the City of the Dead. After your characters bring Gnarl back to Jarlaxle for interrogation, you've got a great spot to trigger the Fireball events in Chapter 3 that kicks off the hunt for the Stone of Galore. Through interrogating Gnarl, or by searching his corpse, depending upon how your encounter with him went, Jarlaxle learns that the Stone of Galore, the thing that he's really been searching for, has been stolen. He reaches out to the party and tasks you with retrieving it. This revelation can coincide with finding the Nimblewright and its map at the start of Chapter 4. Your characters may already have the information that Jarlaxle is looking for if they investigated Growlin Villa and all that jazz. From here, you've got a choice. Either run the encounter chain of Chapter 4 as written, or stick the Stone of Galore in one of the bad guys' hideouts. Neither answer is wrong, and the book accounts for both. But if you put it in the bad guy's hideout, your players get to run a heist, and isn't that what they came for? So I say, put it in Xanathar's hideout, or whoever the bad guy happens to be. Have Jarlaxle coach the characters on casing the joint, and maybe even give them a hastily drawn map of the place that many Bothans died to retrieve. Wait, sorry, wrong franchise. With that map in hand, and some hints on guard schedules and traps, they can plan their infiltration. And as the game master, it's your job to see that this plan goes sideways, like it does in any good heist movie. At the end, though, your characters should have the Stone of Galore in hand. Of course, we wrap things up with the fourth mission for Jarlaxle, which is to retrieve the gold from the hidden vault. That's why he's in Waterdeep to begin with, after all. Jarlaxle accompanies the characters to the vault, along with a few drow reinforcements. But one of those reinforcements, Felrecht perhaps, has rolled over to the other side. They've given the vault's location to the bad guys, who've shown up to launch an ambush just as you arrive. Naturally, you and Jarlaxle will emerge victorious and march straight into the vault, where he will demand all the spoils for himself, minus a few scraps for you and your party, of course. How your party takes that is entirely up to them. Maybe they're cool with it and Jarlaxle's able to buy Luskan's way into the Lord's Alliance. Or maybe they decide that they don't need this chump anymore, and Jarlaxle doesn't leave the vault alive. Let me know how it goes down in the comments below.